here's your host, Alex Garrett.
And as promised on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network, a little bit of a 5-minute fix at 6. We'll go a little longer with my next guest, though. But tonight, it is Valentine's Day night. And if you are out there and wondering if you'll find maybe that special someone, maybe Fifth and Mad will be a great place to go tonight, because I understand there's a big event for Chivy, the professional dating app. And I've got the CEO right now, Nikko Shkreli. First of all, congrats on launching this app in New York.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it.
So how does Chivy, let me go right off the bat here, how does Chivy give you one leg up on dating, if you will?
Well, Chivy differentiates itself, based on mostly our security, our in-person events, and also our selectivity. We help users pretty much stay selective within what they're actually looking for. A lot of dating apps kind of, throw you into an area where there's too many choices. It becomes work. People end up not using it, and no success, is what usually occurs after that. So we kind of try to make it as successful as possible, and then also an enjoyable experience for the user at the same time. So we kind of, took an idea. We looked at all the problems I was able to identify with the current dating apps, and then try to find a solution for each one. And then also looking forward, how could we improve even beyond the digital interface? And that's kind of where we came up with the idea of, meeting on a digital interface such as an app is great, but how do you actually make those in-person connections? And, some people may be not as great on the digital interface on an app, as well as, or they may be better in person, which, gives the value proposition that they could be a Chivy member. And also, let's say they don't want to use the app as much, but they would love to be a member and attend all these events. This is the type of thing that we would do to make sure that, all of our users are at least more successful in finding that special somebody.
Well, I have to believe, being that it's a professional setting, you have a lot of requirements that need to be met to join the app. Is that right?
Well, we are a premium subscription membership, so there is a cost to enter. That is correct, yeah.
But like the requirements, it's not just any dating app where it's just I'd say regular person, but it's not like a regular swipe. These people are driven people that are looking for each other. And how do you find tapping into that community is going so far?
Going well so far. We use a lot of our branding as well throughout the app and the onboarding experience to let users know that we are pretty much, we are trying to help users that are specifically looking for long-term meaningful relationships. We are kind of trying to bring about that classical, courting romance of dating as with the modern age as well, a perfect blend of both, if you would. And that's kind of where we got one of our slogans, chivalry didn't die and moved to Chivy. And I think that's kind of where we're going with this angle of our app. And, it's exciting. Right now, so far, we are very fresh, very new. We launched evening of Friday, so very, very new. We have less than 100 users, so we are very small still, but it's not too bad for just launching. So we expect to grow pretty rapidly within the next 12 months.
Do you see dating as the main thing? Because when I see professional, I think of networking also. So is there a networking potential that you see with this app, or is it strictly dating?
Ours is strictly dating. We're not trying to. I know some of the other apps, they do, they help people find friends. They help people find business partners as well, or networking. We strictly are just trying to help people find, we assume, we're not sure yet, but we believe that our target audience is probably going to be somewhere between 25 and 40 years old, single professionals that pretty much have everything going on in their life pretty well. The only thing missing is kind of finding that someone that they can call their own. And I think this is why, Chivy is kind of ideal for that kind of relationship with the digital interface to help them succeed at their goals.
I'm guessing you feel like dating apps have taken away the chivalrous aspect of that romance scene, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it as well. I think 89% of users on a Pew poll recently said that they are unsatisfied with what's available on dating apps as well as with incompatible matches. So, and there's over 1,500 dating apps on the market right now. So for whatever reason, users and people as well, people are not being serviced the way they should be. And I think it has a lot to do with just not understanding the customer as well. And, trying to be too much maybe revenue driven and trying to do too many things as opposed to really just focusing in and dialing in onto what their real needs are of the customer and how how do we actually, satisfy those needs? And I think we're on the right page. Time will tell, but I do believe we are. We have had a lot of great feedback already. When we don't even have enough users, to make a larger sample pool. But from the initial feedback, even from just our interface, our onboarding experience, and our branding, we've had a great amount of feedback that people love what we're doing.
I guess the other question is, have you found any couples that have been matched through Chivy and that you have a story to talk about even in its early infancy here?
Not yet, unfortunately. We did launch this past Friday, so I don't have any of those stories yet, but I will definitely, we should set up another call, hopefully within a month or two. Maybe we will have some of those stories to tell.
How about you? Did you have experience on dating apps that sort of led you to create your own, if you will?
Yeah, it was actually a part of the creation. Pretty much around, I tried some of the dating apps around COVID time when you weren't really allowed to go out as much. Most businesses were closed. And I kind of saw a lot of, pitfalls that, and I wasn't able to find a lot of compatible matches as well. As a professional, myself, I work a lot of long hours. And then when I would end up trying to use the apps, I spent a lot of time just swiping aimlessly on people that I wasn't interested personally. Nothing wrong with these people, but just wasn't what I was looking for. And a lot of people I did match with, I also noticed there were a lot of bots on the apps. There was a lot of catfishing that was going on. There were also a lot of instances where, let's say you would match with someone, and then when you meet up with them, they maybe didn't look the same way they did in their profile photos. And we have solutions for all those kind of problems. And I think it was kind of just like a light bulb went off my brain. After I used them a little bit, I spoke to friends and family, and I got their anecdotal research about what they were experiencing. And then also I did market research, and it was kind of universal. Men and women had some things that were the same, some things that were different, but overall, there were a lot of pain points not being addressed, and I kind of really wanted to take a shot at it and see what I could do, and I think that's kind of how Chivy was born.
All right, I like that. I believe relationships are about compromise too, but you say this is about those who refuse to compromise. What do you mean by that?
Well, we at Chivy think that, relationships should be based on, high standards, people with high standards and an emphasis on value system. And I know there's been a lot of movement towards, the hookup culture and the kind of ghosting culture and a whole bunch of other things. I mean, there's some, you could go on other dating apps and you'll see a lot of people that they'll sign up for a dating app just to put down either like, not on this app, message me on my Instagram or my OnlyFans as almost a marketing tool. And it was kind of hilarious to me that, these dating apps have become this total other platform that wasn't really what it was intended to do, but that's what they've became. So we kind of just want to make it for people that kind of are just not happy with what's available currently on the market, and they're just not willing to compromise on just settling for anything. People that are they're looking for something more, something serious, and they know what they want, and that's why they choose to join Chivy, and that's kind of why we also have a premium subscription price, is to make sure that, everyone on Chivy is serious. We don't cater to one side more than the other. We think regardless of gender, people should be, serious and have skin in the game. And that kind of, I think, will help allude to, these people are serious and they're actually looking for something. And, because they have an intention, a serious intention, our goal is help, make them achieve that.
What are you looking for tonight at this Valentine's Day event at Fifth and Matt? Like, what kind of result are you looking for? Results? Are you looking for actual matches to happen in person tonight?
That would be excellent. Unfortunately, we didn't have as much time as I'd hoped for the marketing of this event, just because we launched a little bit later than we had planned initially. We had a little bit of a launch delay, but with 4 days notice, 6 days notice, I'm hoping it would be nice if we could get at least 100, 150 people to attend this event. That would be nice, and if matches are made, that would be even better. That would kind of solidify what our intention was with the in-person event.
All right. Well, I've talked with CEOs, so I want to know about your experience leading up to this meeting. You've obviously run a business before, or is this your first venture as an entrepreneur?
I have run other businesses as well. I was involved with a tea business at one point called TNT that I had. I sold real estate. I had a little bit of project management and development in real estate as well. And I also helped my family business go from a brick and mortar business to also having an online presence.
So you know this, and I'm sure the backing of this app, I mean, did that come with time that you were able to get the backing to launch this app? Because people had to invest in this app, right, to make it work?
Yeah, of course. So we initially, the concept came maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, and from that day, I was able to maybe gain the pre-seed money within probably 3 months of concept, and then from there we started building our MVP. And I don't have a technical background, but I'm very hands-on regardless, and I'm a fast learner. So luckily, I was able to kind of spearhead the whole process and learn who to hire, who not. And it was a big learning curve, the whole time. But throughout the process, we were able to build something really special. We have done a few rounds of raising family and friends, as well as a pre-seed raise. We are now currently seeking our seed round as well.
How frustrated are you that a lot of this dating culture is on the app? Meaning, I feel like it leads to loneliness, right? Like all these apps lead to some kind of loneliness, don't they?
Couldn't agree with you more. That's kind of why, we are driving that in-person event as well. I think there's nothing like an in-person connection. And, furthermore, at the very least, you miss a lot of cues that you would get in person that you can't get on an app, regardless how good it is. I think 70% of all communication is nonverbal when you're in person. So you miss out on all those body cues, body signaling. So, it's kind of tricky to do. You can still make a great app, but you still need that in-person component, I think, to be successful. And I think that's why the in-person events will kind of differentiate us and also help our user base be more successful than most of our competitors, the users on our competitor apps.
Nikko, I got to ask this, though, on a general scheme of things. I mean, loneliness in New York City. Who knew that this could be a really lonely city at times? And sometimes it does feel like that. Can't we say that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what's that word? The New York City minute is the busiest minute in the world or something like that. But, it was recently voted, I think, 147th out of 180 cities, major cities in the United States, as one of the worst places to date. And, as a New Yorker, born and raised New Yorker, I kind of felt like that was an insult, towards New York, and I want to also change that, and I think we will. So that's why we are doing a launch initially in New York City with plans to expand to, surrounding areas, and then we have plans to expand beyond that to, major metropolitan areas like Miami and Los Angeles.
Did you ever think you'd play a matchmaker in real life? I mean, have you ever played matchmaker in your friend group, like, connect to people like this off the app?
I never thought this would happen. You never really know the trajectory of your future, to be honest with you. I never would have saw me being the founder and CEO of a dating app. So I'll be totally honest. This was, you never know which direction your life takes, but in a funny sense, it kind of all culminated to this with different experiences, different education, and, different life goals. So I'm also in the age group as well as our target audience. So it kind of makes sense. I kind of know exactly what most users are going through, and I kind of understand the solution as well. So it's easier when you can make something that you would use yourself, as opposed to just making it for someone you don't know. If you try to make something that you would be comfortable using yourself or that you would be comfortable with your family or friends using, it's much easier, I think, to put that personal touch and that actual commitment to care to make it as curated and perfect as possible.
Now, when people are on the apps, do you look at the etiquette? Do you look at the do you moderate? How do you guys moderate the app so that it is a safe environment?
So we take a lot of precautions at the moment with verification. So our users, number one, it's a paid premium membership, right? So people are supplying a card to Apple. So that's one thing. So you remove a lot of bad actors right there. That's part of the problem with a lot of free apps. The other thing is we do a robust verification system where we do an identity document scan as well as a biometric liveness facial scan. So this way that, nobody is, even if you took someone's ID and you try to use it, it's not going to work for you. And on top of that, we have a Photoshop proof selfie.
Wow.
What's called? We have pretty much a Photoshop selfie check that we make sure that no one is going to be using Photoshop. Photoshop proof selfie check. So it's very simple actually. We force one of the profile photos to use the take camera function, take photo function, and this way users are not going to be able to edit that photo. They can't upload it, they can't edit it, so they are who they are. So even if the other photos they add are not, let's say they're all uploaded, they're edited, they're professional, whatever the case may be, one of them is going to actually look like what they really look like. And I think that's important because if you're really trying to match with someone that you're interested in, most likely you want them to know what you look like anyways, right? You're not trying to be, playing like some sort of game where it's disguising. So on top of that, we also have a feature for our users. It's called Chivy Safe Date, and the idea behind it was, and also the verification. I'll just touch real quickly on this. The way we came with some of these ideas is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, there was a docu-series called Tinder Swindler that came out.
Yes, I heard about that.
So he had gone around on all these apps, Tinder being, I guess, the main one, and pretty much he was able to, because they weren't verifying his identity, he was able to scam all of these women out of like millions of dollars. But that was one way, so we verify who people are. On top of that, there was another docuseries called like Dating App Horror Stories that I had seen on Hulu, which made me come to the realization of, wow, no app is actually doing anything to keep like some sort of safety solution or anything to check up on you when you're actually on a date with someone you don't know who they are. And if they're not verified, even worse. Our users are verified, but we still thought, why not make that extra layer, right? So we made a feature called Chivy Safe Date. So while users are on their onboarding process, they put in either one or two emergency contacts, and right before they go on a date, they toggle them on a date. They get an SMS within 20 minutes, checks up with them. It's interactive, so pretty much it will ask, this is Chivy. We just want to check up on you. Please respond with the correct prompt, the correct numerical prompt. If you type 1, we'll leave you alone. Everything's great. Have a great time. If you text back 2, we alert your emergency contact to reach out and share your location. You text back 3, and we open up the Uber app on your phone to schedule a ride home for you.
Wow. That's a really useful help. I mean, that's great. Unfortunately, how many instances? Unfortunately, we don't want it to get to 3, right? That's the worst case scenario, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, these are precautions. And I think that sometimes it's the same thing with an alarm system in a home, right? Your idea is to deter someone who may be willing to do some bad actors. That's why people put lights around their house at nighttime. I think the more steps we put in to make sure that we can deter those type of people, the better job we will do at actually keeping the people on the app with the right intentions. And, we don't want to also be, there's obviously more ways we could go further with that, but at the end of the day, we don't want to be invasive either with privacy, right? So we want to be able to have a nice balance where the user feels safe, or at least safer, but not be invasive as well. People do have the right to privacy, and I respect that more than anyone. So
you mentioned the pandemic, and I feel like we are 4 years out from the pandemic, 3 years out from when really things got started. So do you think there's a healthier dating scene now that we're back in person for the most part, or is there still work to go on that?
I think it's better than it was right away after the pandemic had finished, but I do think there's a way to go still. I mean, I think there is going to be some users that probably want to build that relationship much more on the interface longer, just because of different fears, whatever the case may be. And I think there's other people that may be like, almost like you get cooped up, that cabin fever, where it's like I'd rather meet people in person. It's kind of also a natural instinct. It's a human need to connect. So I think a lot of people. I think once we actually take off and people are much more aware of our brand and our company, I think the in-person events will do very well in New York City, especially in Manhattan, Brooklyn. I feel like that's where mostly it's going to take off the best.
Well, I wish you all the best. And by the way, how did it feel to get AP, Associated Press, mentioning your app? That must have felt pretty good.
Of course it did. And thank you, Alex. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
All right, that was Nikko Shkreli, the founder and CEO of Chivy, the dating app, getchivy.com.